All right, folks, welcome. Doesn't look like we have anybody here live with us right now, but it is 2:00. We are going to go ahead and start with taking a look at how to write a Toastmasters introduction as I bring myself into the picture here. Got some new technology that we're working with, so we'll see how this works, how to write a Toastmasters introduction. So this is one of those things that tends to get looked over, I think, by a lot of people. Either they don't think about it at all, they don't think about it until the last minute. If they do think about it, it may be that they don't do a very effective job of putting an introduction together. We're actually thinking about two things here. We're thinking about when you are the person introducing someone else, or more commonly, when you are going to give a speech. We're putting it in the context of a Toastmasters club, but this really is in any speaking situation. If you are the one speaking, it's worth it to you and to your audience to give a little thought as to how to help the person who is going to be introducing you to give you an effective introduction. So first of all, one of the things that we want to get in mind is that an introduction is not a biography. And that's what tends to happen a lot of times when people do this introduction thing. They will, they'll tell everything about their background, and that's really not what we're needing here. Okay, it's not a biographical thing. It's not where did I go to school, how many kids do I have, et cetera, unless that's germane to your topic. Okay, but other than that, really don't need to have that in there. The idea of the introduction is to provide a bridge from wherever they are when they come into your speech to your speech. The introduction provides that bridge. When they come in there, they're thinking about paying the rent or whatever else is going on in their lives. And so the introduction is designed to provide a connection. In fact, we can make a comparison to the introduction of your speech. Now, you know, in the speech itself, there's a basic structure there, an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. And so the introduction of your speech is designed to perform some functions. Let's just number those functions there. Okay, the introduction should be, let me get myself out of the way here just a bit. Yeah, way down there in the corner. The introduction to your speech should do four things: gain attention and interest for your topic. Okay, we'll come back to that in just a second. Establish rapport with your audience. Orient the audience to what they are about to hear, and then set the tone for the speech. So first of all, gain attention and interest for your topic. So this is just getting them warmed up, getting them started. Sometimes people will say an introduction is to gain attention. Well, that's not necessarily the case. I could come up front and strip naked, set myself on fire, but unless I'm going to be talking about how to treat third-degree burns, it's not getting interest and attention for my topic. They'll tell you to tell a joke and that sort of thing. And again, that can be mental whiplash for the audience. If you tell a joke that has nothing to do with your topic, then you got them thinking in one direction, and then you go a different direction. That's where the mental whiplash comes in. Okay, so gain attention and interest for your topic. Establish rapport with your audience. If the first one is to gain a connection with your topic, the second one is to gain a connection between the speaker and the audience. Orient the audience to what they're about to hear. Beginning speakers very often will start out by saying, "Today I'm going to talk about." And that doesn't necessarily orient them to what they're about to hear. Think about it if somebody says to you, "Today I'd like to talk to you about buying life insurance." Now, you may need life insurance, but if somebody starts out talking that way, they probably are not orienting you, that is, turning you to what they're going to talk about. In fact, they may turn you away from it. And then to set the tone for the speech. So if you are the person who is introducing a speaker, then you need to do these things for the speaker, for the topic, for the speech. Maybe not so much the setting the tone thing, but all the other things actually come into play. So let's think a little bit about how these things come into play. Okay, so the introduction does these things in succinct form. And what we mean by that is keep it under 30 seconds. You do that by leaving out extraneous detail. Me having gotten a leather jacket in high school just doesn't matter unless I'm going to be using basketball as my metaphor, perhaps, for my speech. One of the things that can be really frustrating to a speaker, by the way, is if the introducer just gives away the whole speech. Now, sometimes when I'm speaking, I will do that on purpose. I started out a session recently, a professional development activity that I was doing for a group of college educators. And the idea was that the teacher is the most essential element, not because they're so smart or because they know everything, but because they're going to provide that connection between the student and the content. I started the speech off by saying the most important element is the teacher. Okay, we can go home now, and got everybody to chuckle. But then we still had 45 minutes of solid material to go through. That's kind of an unusual circumstance. Generally speaking, you want to set up the speech, but you don't want to give it away. So what does that mean in practical terms? Well, it depends, of course, on the speech itself. It depends on what you're going to be talking about. The speaker may start with a story. Probably the introducer is not going to use story because you need to keep it under 30 seconds. It's kind of a rule of thumb that the longer the introducer speaks past 30 seconds, the more trouble the speaker is in. You don't want to gush too much about the speaker. You do want to set up their credibility. So perhaps telling a little bit about the background of the speaker and what brought him or her to this topic would help set it up. To perhaps ask a question that would start the audience thinking about the topic, and then let the speaker answer that question. If you're writing the introduction yourself, what you're going to want to give to the introducer is the stuff that you feel like will get the audience thinking in line with what you will talk about, to orient them to what you're going to say. If you are selling life insurance, for example, you don't want to start out with, I'd like to talk to you today about life insurance. It's going to be more effective to set it up by saying something like, did you ever have something happen that you didn't expect to happen? Maybe you set it up with a question like that. Or maybe you tell the introducer to say something like, our speaker today has had experience with unexpected loss. And while you never want to waste pain, our speaker is going to use that experience to help you prepare so that when the unexpected happens, you don't have to be caught with your pants down or something like that, you see. Now, as we said, starting out, this is thinking mainly about Toastmasters, although the principles apply all across the speaking world. We do have a particular interest in Toastmasters. Here in Toastmasters, if you are not taking advantage of this, you have a tool available to you in Free Toast Host. A lot of us are using this as our club website. In fact, I suspect these days that most Toastmasters clubs are, but we're probably underutilizing it. Inside Free Toast Host, we have some tools that will help us to write our own introduction and then make it easily available to the Toastmaster. So let's take a look at that screen, and I will get it a little bigger so that we can actually see what's going on there. Get myself kind of out of the way down here. All righty, so I'm already logged in to the Free Toast Host for my primary club, Morning Cup Toastmasters. And I have coming up here a speech. I think it's actually this coming Wednesday. So let's take a look at the meeting agenda there. Yep, there I am. And I have already selected a title and the project. So I want to give you a little tip here. If you're trying to find your project, you know there's lots and lots of entries on this thing. If you click on this as a drop down, it's going to have all of those pathways there. First thing I do is click on collapse all, and then it's easy for me to find my actual pathway and just open that pathway right there. Now, I happen to be working on the 5th one, so I'd have to scroll way down here. Reflect on your path. You might notice you've got this keywords thing up here. So you could also, if you know the name of the project, just type the name of the project there. It's going to take you right to it. Click on that, puts the information in there. I came up with a title. And perhaps the introduction is going to be something like this. Okay, so you can see all of that is entered there. I click on Save Project and Speech Details. That is now available to the Toastmaster of the meeting. Now, right now, there's not a Toastmaster signed up, so I don't even know who that's going to be yet. But when the Toastmaster signs up, he or she will have instant access to this. Either one of us can click on this little tiny printer icon. Can you see that right in there? And if you click on that, it will immediately go to where you could print it out. But notice that that's nice big type. It's got my name. It's got the length of time for the speech. It has the introduction. I've just got it set up to make a PDF right now. You can also just cancel that, and you've got a separate tab in your browser that has all that information. So you could hit your print key from here. Another thing that's handy about this, if you are the Toastmaster, and again, there's not one signed up here right now. Let me go to an earlier meeting where I was the Toastmaster. So in this one, where I was the Toastmaster, I can go down here and click on project description and get a PDF of that. I can get the evaluation form. And because this is a past meeting, the option for printing intros is not showing, but I can tell you from experience that if I click on the printer icon to print the introduction for a speaker, I could get all of the speakers at once in one document. That makes it really easy on me as the Toastmaster. So I would encourage you to make use of this tool here because it just makes things easier for everybody. It preserves a record of what you did, of which project it was. It gives the Toastmaster instant access to your introduction. If for some reason they forgot to bring the printout and they've got an iPad, for example, they can access it right there on the club website. I would recommend to you that you print an introduction as a backup. Take it with you. But in any case, it's going to make the whole process just work that much more effectively. I hope that makes sense to you. And this is not going to be a very long webinar here. We had kind of hoped that we would have folks on live so that we could work through some actual speeches, help people to get their introduction together for an upcoming project. And that's just not going to happen today, but this recording, I hope, will still be useful to you, will help you to do more effective introductions for yourself. When you are the person introducing someone, whether it's at a Toastmasters club or out there in the real world, that this will give you some hints, some ideas about how to do an effective introduction. Thank you for being with us today. Everybody who's in the audience is going to be on virtually. Let us know what we can do to make these trainings more effective for you. And if you would like to get some more information about this sort of thing, then I will share a link down here at the bottom as we get ready to wrap up. You will be able to get more information about the Morning Cup Toastmasters Club. You would also be able to pick up some information about how to speak more confidently in any situation. So be sure to take advantage of those resources. In any case, Again, thanks for being here today, and we will see you next time.